Well, President Trump is not backing down from his refusal to concede to President-elect Joe Biden. And our next guest argues that one of the reasons he's doing this is because losing the presidency will leave him in a vulnerable position. Here to discuss Trump's post-presidency hurdles is Bloomberg opinion columnist Tim O'Brien. Tim, it's great to see you this morning. You write this morning in a new column that Trump fears leaving the White House. What should he be most afraid of post-president?
Well, he has these sort of twin horrors on the horizon, Tim. One is financial. Trump and his businesses have over $1 billion in debt. Trump has personally guaranteed over $400 million of that. He's in businesses that are getting squeezed severely by the COVID-19 pandemic, particularly urban real estate, both commercial and residential. The leisure business. He owns golf courses, obviously, and hotels. And there's going to be a question about timing and whether or not he has the wherewithal to pay down some of that debt. A lot of his holdings aren't liquid. And if he gets into a position where he needs to go through a fire sale to pay down debt, he could be in trouble. The other thing that's looming out there are two investigations, one by the New York State Attorney General, one by the Manhattan District Attorney's Office. Both are focusing on financial improprieties, accounting irregularities, and possible tax schemes by Trump, his children, and the Trump Organization.
Yeah, so it's likely his lawyers will be very busy and continue to be very busy after he leaves the White House. You also write that he's gotten through life facing relatively little consequence. You've studied Trump for a long time. You've written a book about Trump. You've followed his career and his life. Does it seem to you that he's learned from any of his mistakes in the past?
Absolutely not. Donald Trump is a 74-year-old man who is essentially in the same place emotionally, psychologically, and intellectually that he was 70 years ago.
Wow.
He was born into a wealthy family. His father's wealth insulated him from a lot of his business mistakes early on. He became a celebrity through The Apprentice. That gave him this another sort of ring of fire, protecting him from the consequences of his own mistakes or misdeeds. And then he ascended to the presidency, and he got very unusual legal protection that's now about to evaporate. But he is someone who is accustomed to being able to get away with things most people can't. And I think that's why some of these existential threats that are hanging over him right now unnerve him the way they do. And I think that's why he's trying to gaslight the American public about the 2020 election.
Yeah, I've been so eager to get your thoughts on this because you've been on the receiving end of a Trump lawsuit. You're one of the few people who has, and it's a growing number of people, I guess we could say. What is the president's strategy here? What is the end game? Because there's absolutely no way mathematically that he could win this election.
There's never a strategy with Trump, Tim. I think what there is there's usually visceral reactions. And we should really distinguish between the two, because someone who doesn't have a strategy is actually less threatening. Someone who's constantly acting out because they have an image of themselves that they want to protect is an easier person to contend with. Donald Trump will want to have "I won" on his gravestone. And I think a lot of these lawsuits have been filed not because they have any real legal traction, but because they give him an obvious crutch he can lean on to say that he didn't lose to Joe Biden, the election was rigged, when on the face of it, that's a silly proposition. And he's unnerving people. There's a lot of talk about, is this a slow motion coup? Can Trump just sit there in the White House? And I think when push comes to shove, at the end of the day, if need be, federal marshals can frog march him out the front door of the White House. But our institutions are strong. The facts of what this election was about are clear. And I think that it's up to people on both sides of the aisle to link arms around this one so our institutions can move forward.
So then why do you think Republicans have been so willing to embrace the legal strategy here? We saw Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell yesterday sort of echo that Trump is sort of within his rights to be doing this. Why are they taking Trump's side right now if there's sort of no outcome here that he could stay?
I think because I think they're embracing the legal effortless, and they're embracing Trump's neediness. And they want to prop him up because he is a force and will remain a force in the Republican Party. He is a big fundraiser. He has emotional and political traction with a huge portion of American voters, as we know, 70 million of them. That can't be dismissed. And I think people in the Republican Party are trying to walk this line between keeping Trump in check, but also not allowing his worst instincts to prevail. Unfortunately, it's very tilted right now more to allowing his worst instincts to prevail.
Bloomberg Opinions, Tim O'Brien. It's always great to see you, Tim. Thanks so much for your time this morning.
The biggest stories the moment they happen from around the globe. Subscribe to Bloomberg Quick Take now for insight in an instant.